Good morning. So, it might be evening for you by the time you watch this video or by the time you connect. Hi, I actually happen to have a license to teach in one state in the US. And what's interesting is that my first career position included a dual process and a dual position that included technology and the networks and being able to to work in more technology and technical manuals and curriculum that I didn't expect. I was willing. As a willing educator, I was willing to learn and grow, even to troubleshoot, even to do repairs on computers, even to do installations of different parts just to save on a budget. So, one thing that I've learned in all my years was that some people prefer more information where it is convenient. Wherever you are, if there's information or a way to information, it is convenient to get that information. In the learning that I have learned, not every spot is a great spot to grab information. Some people will question, some people will discriminate, some people will see it in a different viewpoint. I think I learned best from watching a few movies along the way when I was a child and learning about different background histories. Now, in a previous video, I shared the pathway that I was able to go into learning about Korean warfare and their viewpoints in the Korean War, all the way into my teaching position, in which we did bucket filling. In that video, I stood by a box. It was a very cool electronic technology box with a conduit. Well, on it, it talked about, it gave a warning that it was transmitting frequencies. And what's interesting is that not too many people believe the viewpoint of how frequencies work. The view of technology, the view of gathering information, the view of how encryption works, unencrypted, encrypted, the language of a computer, the language of a network. When I read that box and I did that video, I thought how ironic it is that it's actually on the box as a label. Not all conduits and different areas that transmit frequencies actually state that there's a warning that it's transmitting. There is a reason for homes and residential construction and the way material is placed together. And there is a reason for sound recording production studios and broadcasting studios and the way that they are formed. Soundproofing is something that I had to get used to learning throughout my years. Didn't matter if my family was in a single family home, a condo, an apartment, or even when I had my children in my friend's single family home. The view of gathering all of that information to make the best decision, it came down to whether or not I wanted certain concepts in my life and certain ways of life. Meaning, even in a single family home that was not double walled, but one layer of walling, did I want to turn one room into a sound recording studio, or a music studio, or a playroom? Or did I want sound on every footstep? Built into the technology and the curriculum for technology comes with a basic science that we do teach in elementary education. Those that are against education or haven't been around the Department of Education or haven't been around for curriculum, they may not be aware of how much science is taught about the anatomy of the human body, the brain waves, brain frequencies, and transmitting frequencies, even with science, with man-made products. I'm going to put this out there because in my research, I have to deal with different articles and different government sites and company sites and New York Stock Exchange evaluations that guide a process of decision making, and yet not all of it is needed because of the view of where you gather your information and the convenience of it, and whether or not somebody wants to burn the literacy in it. What I mean by burning the literacy in it is that a lot of books in the curriculum, they started to get more scripted because there are resource books and then curriculum instruction and curriculum designed specifically with instructional design processes. The methodology in the education field dives into the process of whether or not it's best for a child to learn certain types of science in a certain way. Can we teach technology in that type of a method? Scientific inquiry, basic scientific inquiry, basic groups. Can we still teach it like that? When it came for diving into curriculum writing and editing, there's education, there's logistics, there's technical, there's a variety of types of curriculum to edit and transition, not just about age groups or child development. So what's the point? The point is that not everybody wants you to discriminate as a viewer who you're getting your information from, even if it's great content. Great content, the looks, the business world, the way a person presents a presentation, or even the view of which frequency are you on and how frequent are you on that frequency. It's also about diving into whether or not somebody wants a person to be literate. I am asking in this process of mine, for any educator to go back to curriculum that got discarded. For a time period, I had a few of it. But to go back to a few curriculums that were discarded, put on the side, and even put in a different direction, or even doesn't even exist anymore, but you might be able to find a person or two that still have it. Go back and dive into why those materials and that curriculum was chosen. Because it wasn't just about advancements and upgrades in a computer world or a mobile device world. There's advancements in security and the knowledge of how literate we can make and bring about children that can pass assessments, that can grow together. And yet, science and scientific knowledge guides the decision process sometimes in saying, let's not make that curriculum available. Let's build off of something new. Even though there were assessments that could prove otherwise. Although then again, case studies, you only have 100 people, 700 people, 1,000 people out of how many million, There are ways of gathering case studies and case study after case study after case study. And some case studies people don't even know that they're a part of because someone selects them randomly. Don't forget, some of us do call it illegal stalking. Unless there was approval given with a waiver, even at a medical center. Roll your eyes. So I have a few books that I am writing after all this research and guiding my own thoughts and my decision making. Would it be best to share those types of processes in a book, in new curriculum, or even with a new school? Some schools have gone back to some of those curriculums, and even though it's not advanced technology, they have at least a native app or a native process that allows a server to distribute what type of software that they want or program that they want that's native to their school campus or their location or even business practice. So why should we dive in that far into curriculum? We still have master's and doctorate levels of those being guided into curriculum writing, curriculum instruction, instruction design, the methodology, the thinking process, the development process. What would be the reason for anybody else to challenge it for themselves, not against those students going after it, but against the school systems itself, against scientists themselves? How many people put up a fight and say, there must be something wrong with the assessment? How many sit in front of teachers and say, my child should have passed the test? How many parents get upset saying, there should be something else for my child? Hence we have school reform. Hence we have different types of methods. Hence we have different type of charter schools opening and private schools that are available, and the parent's choice is made available because there is technology and there is security. So how do we get parents to understand their parent choice and then view the gathering of their own information into the challenge of guiding their own research for the betterment of their own child, so that they can sit in front of a teacher, so that they can sit in front of even a curriculum editor or curriculum coordinator on a school campus or even on a business campus world. That, I think, deserves a bit more technology and field lines and lines of communication. Have an amazing day.